Harper Lee and Her Inspirations, a digital story by Lauren Henry. Harper Lee was born in small-town Monroeville, Alabama in 1926. Her father was a lawyer that served in the state legislature in Alabama, and she lived next to famous author Truman Capote in her childhood as well. They became lifelong friends, and he actually inspired one of the characters that would be in To Kill a Mockingbird, Dill. After the completion of high school, Harper Lee attended Huntingdon College but transferred to the University of Alabama after a year. She studied law there, but unfortunately she dropped out right before she could earn her degree. She reportedly did not like studying law. After dropping out of the University of Alabama, she moved to New York in 1949 and worked for a few airlines as a reservations clerk. Her friends supported her as she followed her dreams of becoming a writer, and she wrote short stories. When she first submitted To Kill a Mockingbird to her publisher, she received criticism that it was too episodic, and she rewrote it. To Kill a Mockingbird was finally published in 1960 during the Civil Rights Movement. The novel has heavy themes of racism and injustice within the Jim Crow era and within the criminal justice system. In 1961, Harper Lee won the Pulitzer Prize for To Kill a Mockingbird. In the following year, 1962, the movie adaptation was made, with Gregory Peck starring as Atticus. The movie was nominated for 8 Academy Awards and won 3 of those awards. In 2015, when Harper Lee was 89 years old, HarperCollins published Go Set a Watchman. It was once thought to be the sequel to To Kill a Mockingbird, but it was actually one of the very first drafts of the book, where Scout is much older than she is in To Kill a Mockingbird. There are some strange similarities between author Harper Lee and her main character, Scout Finch, who is also the narrator and 6 years old at the time of the novel. Scout's father, Atticus Finch, is a lawyer and a member of the state legislature, like Lee's father. Scout and Harper Lee also both grew up during the 1930s in rural southern Alabama towns with similar names, Monroeville and Macomb. Additionally, both Lee and Scout were avid readers at a young age. Harper Lee also has an older brother who has a playmate, Truman Capote, and in the book, Scout's older brother Jim has a playmate, Dill. In the novel, Scout is 6, and Harper Lee would have been 6 at the time of the Scottsboro trials, which she likely heard about in her household. The storyline of To Kill a Mockingbird was likely inspired by the Scottsboro trials. During the Scottsboro trials, 9 young men were arrested after being falsely accused of rape by 2 white women. I say men, but really, they were teenagers. The youngest Scottsboro boy was 12, and the oldest one was 19. This took place in the 1930s in rural Alabama. In To Kill a Mockingbird, Tom Robinson, a young black man, is falsely accused of rape by a white woman. In his trial, no people of color are included on the jury panel. There is not a single person that looks like Tom Robinson, and his trial is unfair. Evidence is ignored in his trial, just as it was in the Scottsboro trials. In this case, real life and fiction have strange similarities as well. In both real life and in the novel, defendants are falsely accused and convicted, and they suffer the consequences of the failures of the criminal justice system. At the time of the novel's release, the Scottsboro trials had happened long before, and many of the Scottsboro boys remained in prison, but the novel had a long-lasting impact It inspired people to create social change in a time that it was needed. To Kill a Mockingbird is considered to be Harper Lee's canonical masterpiece, with 40 million copies sold. She received the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2007, as well as an honorary doctorate from Notre Dame University in 2006. She lived to be 89 years old and died in February 2016. Harper Lee will always be remembered by how she inspired social change within the civil rights movement in a time where it was long due.